with respect to recording.
Purnima ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could share me that presentation, it will be good, ma'am. I'll make everyone to be removed as presenter because.
Nirmala madam, unmute.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm on unmute only.
Yes, madam. I am able to. Madam, my slides are visible.
No, ma'am, not it.
1 second, madam. 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll share the slides. Madam, Nirmala ma'am, the slides are in MS Teams, my team. I'll make you as an owner for that team.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can open it whenever there is a issue. Or let me continue.
People are stopping the recording, ma'am. I'm able to observe that only 3 minutes videos are being captured.
Okay, madam. Then we'll do one thing. You can unmute everyone.
Yes.
Except and I'll share you the link, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Madam, I've shared.
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute.
I've given you as ownership or let me see.
Ma'am, the link is shared to me.
No. I've added you as an member to my teams, madam.
Okay, ma'am. 1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute.
You can see 18 is 84, 21, 22 digital system designed by Dr. G.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's there. In that,
National Education Day 1 PPT I have prepared.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
done, ma'am. Done. I will do that.
Okay.
Just a minute, ma'am. I'll just do that.
Any issue, madam?
I downloaded, but 1 minute, ma'am.
Shall I share, madam?
No, ma'am. 1 minute. It has come, ma'am. 1 minute. I'll just open the presentation, ma'am.
Sure. Karan, can you mute yourself?
Ma'am, is it the screen visible? Okay. Ma'am, the screen is visible, right?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Ma'am. And even I made everyone to be disabled with the mics, and even I made you as the presenter. But no problem, ma'am. I'll take care of it. You tell, I'll move the slides, ma'am.
Okay, madam.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Madam, can you put it into the slideshow?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, is it perfect?
Madam. Or let me share, madam.
Share it, ma'am. No issue for me. No issue for me.
Oh, 1 second,
Yeah.
madam.
Yes,
Can you?
Yes, ma'am. I stopped it.
Okay. Yeah, slides are visible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's visible, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly.
Yes.
Ma'am, you can start it, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, today we will be discussing what is the importance of this National Education Day and who has contributed for this National Educational Day as a pioneer member, and what are the contributions from them, and who is the major reformer to have this National Educational Day concept. These are the things I'll be discussing with you today. First, let us see why this National Education Day it has been. The National Education Day, it is celebrated across India every year on November 11th. It is to give a respect for the pioneer member, that is for his birth anniversary, and the person is Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. In short, he will be called as Maulana Azad. He has served our country from 1947 to 1958 as the first educational minister in Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's cabinet. Maulana Azad is a reformer as well as a freedom fighter. He committed his life to build the nation through the education. His perspective towards the science is quoted here. He quoted like this: science is neutral. Its discoveries can be used equally to heal and to kill. It depends upon the outlook and mentality of the user whether science will be used to create the new heaven or the earth on earth or to destroy the world. Coming to his basic details, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad's real name was Abul Kalam Ghulam Muhyiddin. He was popularly known as Maulana Azad. Maulana Azad was a renowned scholar and a poet too. Basically, Maulana Azad was well versed with many languages, which includes Arabic, English, Urdu, Hindi, Persian, and Bengali. From his name itself, in literacy, the meaning for his name when we search, it is a debater or a lord of dialogue. So hence, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was a brilliant debater was too. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was born on November 11th, 1888 in Mecca. His forefathers basically were from Afghanistan and they shifted to India during Babur's days. His mother was an Arabian and father was Bengali Muslim, but from Afghan origins. His basic education was at home itself. He took his basic education in Urdu from the local teachers up to 12th, up to age of 12, and at the age of 14, he started writing Urdu poetry, and he used to review the learned books. He was reviewer too, and he contributed for many articles during those days and used to publish in the literary magazines, as well as he was editing the magazines of his own. But during those days, since the India was ruled by British government, 2 times he was being jailed because of his magazine and his literary work in the magazine. Later, for a few years, he shifted to the Afghanistan. There he moved around many countries, and in 1920 he came back to India. During that time in India, there was an Khilafat movement. Along with Mahatma Gandhi in 1920, Maulana Azad sir joined to this Khilafat movement. And he became the Viceroy of Khilafat issue in the same year. Between 1912 and 1919, he was associated with the Muslim League too. Afterwards, he elected as the President of Congress at the end of 1939. He served the Constituent Assembly after independence from 1948 to 50 and the Parliament from 1950 to 52. He was elected twice to the Government of India, to the Lok Sabha in 1952 from Rampur constituency, and again in 1957 from Gurgaon he is elected to Lok Sabha. He was the first Minister of Education during the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's constituency. His tenure was between 1947 to 52 as first Education Minister, and the second time between 1952 to 58 he served nation as Minister of Education, Natural Resources and Scientific Research. But unfortunately, he expired on February 22nd, 1958, and was later in 1992, he was honored with Bharat Ratna. So his contributions, if we see, Maulana Azad, a rarest of rare personality, during his tenure, he focused majorly on two issues. The first one, it is the unity of India, and second issue he was focusing during his tenure was how this education to its citizens can be percolated. As a first education minister after the independence, he had a great burden to democratize and universalize Indian education system. Because during those days, the education system was ruled by British education system, and there was more of influence on the caste, creed, religion, elite, class or gender. So he was a person who had belief that wealth of the nation is not concentrated in countries' banks, but in primary schools. That was his belief. So during his tenure, he established this national system of Indian education with an aim that to provide this education with quest of truth, the concept of justice, the spread of enlightenment, unity and cooperation, spirit of daring and practice. Maulana Azad, he focused about not only giving the education for the male-dominated society, but his focus was even to the other fields also, including girls' education, vocational trainings, agricultural education, adult literacy, craft and technical education. He focused on educational standards, even to upgrade the university stage, not only to have the academic responsibilities. He gave an revolution even to include the social responsibilities as well. He was a man with firm belief, along with Pandit Nehru sir. Universities discharge their functions well if all the universities with the education, if they discharge their functions well, the wealth of India will be within the nation. That was their belief. So hence they thought to give a strong foundational education system to the India as well as to strengthen this education system. According to Maulana Azad, if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful minds, the three contributors he quoted, one is the father, second mother, and the third as teacher. During those days, he suggested all parents after the independence with this quote, "Let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have better tomorrow." This was his quote. Abul Kalam, who was the first person to raise the issue of national system of education, which laid the foundation for national policy on education in 1986. That is, now we will be calling as National Educational Policy. What this National Policy on Education, which was introduced in the year 1986, that called for equality and quality of education to the students, irrespective of caste, creed, location, and gender. This was his main focus. It was his early efforts that helped us today shape in all inclusive policy of education, the benefits of which being reapt today. He focused on the following issues when he was acting as education minister. The issues were primary education all over the country has to spread, and this primary education should include 3 languages. The first one is the state language, what we say it is the mother tongue. The second was Hindi. It was a medium of instructions during those days, but English he made as a second language because it was important at that point. Universalization of elementary education was his thought to eliminate the illiteracy up to secondary standard and education for adults and women. He remained for typical instructive structure what before this National Educational Policy 2020 has reinforced. The structure was 10 plus 2 plus 3 throughout India. It is his dream. We followed till 2020. In case Maulana Azad were alive today, he would have been the most joyful to see the right to free education bill implemented in India. The right to education bill gives right to every Indian child free and compulsory education up to elementary level. The great visionary Maulana Azad contributed the idea of neighborhood schools and common school system too. In 1949, he raised voice for the first and foremost task of the national government is the provision of free and compulsory basic education for all of us. This has later, we'll be seeing this golden dream of Azad converted into reality now as the historic RTE Act 2009. This act makes free and compulsory primary education for children between 6 to 14 years. His dream, that was his dream during those days, but now it is in implementation. He put that if education could not inculcate right values and ideas, then welfare and security of the state will be meaningless. That was his thought. Azad's commitment to provide secular, liberal, modern and universal education, what it is relevant today. And his philosophy on education, it has reflected now in national policy on education and remained a cornerstone for many commissions and committees that built upon the broad framework of that policy. He embarked, there can be no advance in either industry. He not only focused on education system, he remarked again towards, he gave the remarks towards the research in science and technology too. His remarks were, there can be no advance in either industry of technology without fundamental research work. The scope of such research should, however, be extended and cover not only the scientific subjects, but also he gave the fresh thought to move this research towards the humanities, including philosophy, social science, anthropology, etc. Because of this, his dream and initiative and encouragement, many institutions during those days, they came up with laboratories of scientific research. His dream fulfilled during those days. During his tenure, he implemented or he opened up few commissions. He set up the first one, the board for the education system to take care, University Grants Commission, UGC. The second, he established All India Council for Technical Education, Kharagpur Institute of Higher Education, the University Education Commission, the Secondary Education Commission. So these were the boards during his tenure he set up. Apart from this, these educational boards, he gave importance for science and technology and the social sciences. Apart from this, he gave the equal emphasis on art, music and literature too. Because of his initiative, he founded Sangeet Natak Academy in 1953, Sahitya Academy in 1954 and Lalit Kala Academy in 1954 that protected and promoted Indian culture over the decades. Maulana Azad also focused about girls' education, vocational trainings, agricultural education, and technical education, as I've quoted earlier too. He found a place in the agenda of Government of India. With these today also we are observing. This shows the great visionary power he had and how relevant it is today. Its relevance can be seen in the decision of governments regarding starting English subject, semi-English medium, starting more English medium schools in different parts of the country now also. Imparting the primary goal is to impart primary education in mother tongue to nowadays it is relevant. He focused on Indian education system to establish. Along with that, he focused even the reforms towards the curriculum aspect too. He repeatedly stressed following ideas to alter and enrich the content and scope of curriculum. Educational standards needs to be raised at the university stage and curricula should be broadened and enriched. Curricula focus. Adult literacy and social education programs should be suitably devised so as to create awareness and productivity. Women's education should be given special attention. The needs of rural areas with emphasis on agriculture and craft should be given due focus. In the curriculum, he also stressed upon to introduce physical education, recreation and opportunities for games and sports also at all levels, including primary education till the higher education. He stressed to broaden the research and evaluation at the test level and its effectiveness and guide for future educational planning. So with this, these are the many important reforms. As a reformer, Maulana Azad sir has given during those days and the flavor of which we are today enjoying it. So I request everyone to salute Maulana Azad sir for his contribution what we are enjoying today. So coming to the conclusion, Maulana Azad visualized that nation building is possible only through holistic and secular education and communal harmony. He designed the education policy of the country. His secular, liberal, modern and universal education is relevant what today we are seeing. His vision paved the way for achieving education for all of us and what we are today. We have an education and what we are enjoying today, it is all because of the efforts in the education because of Maulana Azad's vision. So these are the references which I refer to prepare my contents. I thank these reference authors and I conclude my session with a note that our forefathers, our visionaries, our pure members, they have given a platform for all of us, including education, food, shelter. Now let us contribute how much it is possible from our side to build this nation and to strengthen this nation to become an well-developed country. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Ma'am? Jyoti ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
I really thank our resource person, Dr. Purnima, for imbibing the full knowledge of the journey of the education and also by explaining or by imbibing the knowledge of a biography of the great reformer. It was a much awaited and worthy session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I request Dr. B.V. Krishna Reddy, sir, Associate Professor, Department of Basic Science, to propose a vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Basic Science Department, IIC, CEL. I would like to thank our resource person, Dr. Purnima GR, Dean Academics and Professor, Department of ECE, for giving valuable inputs for today's webinar. I also thank our CED, Dr. Shashidhar Muniappa, for encouraging us in all possible ways. I extend my thanks to our principal, Dr. Nageshwar Gupta, for his continuous support. Also, I extend my thanks to IICCL convener, Dr. Nirmala S. Gupta, for her encouragement. I thank our HOD, Dr. Srinivas Rao K, who is our backbone for all the events to be successful. I thank our organizing coordinators and all the staff of SVCE and students for being part of this webinar and making this success. Thank you all. Thank you. Over to you, Jyoti ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Ma'am, Durga ma'am, do we want to take a complete snip of every student who have joined?
Not like that. Those who can on the camera, that will be good enough.
Yeah. I request those, it's possible for the